How's it going, everyone? Rachel West and Rick Stroud back with you. We're here previewing today's Bucs matchup against the Falcons. And Rick, the Bucs started off the season great with COVID, not affected by it. Then they had a little snag there with the specialists. Then they were back to being okay. And now here we are again, a couple more guys back on the COVID list.
Yeah, and it's the worst possible timing too, right? Because this game today is one that they need to win to get the fifth seed and have a chance to play the NFC East champs, whoever that is, instead of maybe having to go to Seattle, that sort of thing. And then it's the players involved, right? I mean, you lose a Devin White, who has been as good a player on this defense over the last few weeks as they've had. He's their energy, sort of their emotional leader, if you will, as well. The guy that talks in the huddle. Shaq Barrett, of course, one of their top edge rushers, and Stevie McClendon, who has come in and helped solidify the rotation in that defensive line. What's difficult is it's not just today, but what happens after today, right? As we have reported, Devin White had a positive test. And what that means is he cannot play for 10 days as long as he's asymptomatic and test positive or test negative the rest of the way. He might be able to come back in 10 days. Well, 10 days from his positive test would make it a week from today. So what the Bucs need at the very minimum for Devin White to be able to play in the playoffs, they need a Sunday playoff game and not a Saturday one. So the NFL sort of holds their fate with Devin White because there's no way he can make it back by next Saturday. The other guys are contact tracing. So long as they continue to test negative, they'll be back in 5 days. They will be eligible for the playoff game. But today, they'll have none of those players, and they've got to find a way to win this football game.
Yeah, and not only are they going to have those guys out, but they're playing Atlanta for the second time in 3 weeks here. So what is the challenge there, and what can they take from a couple weeks ago when they played them and apply here today?
Well, it's always tough to play a division opponent no matter when you play them, but twice in 3 weeks especially is tough. I mean, Atlanta has nothing to play for, but we saw last week they took the Kansas City Chiefs to a 3-point game and missed the field goal, or that might have gone into overtime. So Raheem Morris is fighting to become their head coach. He's going to have those guys ready to play. They still don't have Julio Jones. Alex Mack, their center, is not going to be there as well. So they got some issues as well on their side of the ball. And I just think that the Bucs have to continue to try to start the way they finished that game. They didn't do a very good job on third down. They're going to be able to have Ronald Jones back, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I think just starting fast and hopefully getting ahead of Atlanta so that you can then begin to pull some starters. They want to do certain things like get Mike Evans his 1,000 yards. He needs 40 yards for that. But you want to be able to rest some guys. But winning the game, make no mistake, they're going to try to win, and they will play those guys as long as they can until they can get a comfortable lead.
And as you brought up, Ronald Jones is going to be back out there today. So it's not all bad. Just how important is it that he's going to be back out on the field there today?
Well, I think it's important for him in particular because he's playing with a broken finger. We don't know what the effects of COVID will be. They say he has plenty of endurance and there's no problem there. But he has a pin in his small finger of his left hand, and the cast that he's wearing leaves him really with the use of only 3 fingers on that hand. So he carries the ball mostly in his right arm. This is his left hand, so it shouldn't affect him too much when he's running the football. But catching the ball has always been a problem for Ronald Jones. They say he's worked on it with that cast this week. We'll see how it goes. I think it's more important to get him going because you're going to have him in the postseason if you go on the road to some wintry place, maybe Washington or Green Bay down the road. You want your best running back playing for you. So a lot of reasons why you want Ronald Jones in the lineup today and get plenty of work.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see in a little bit if the Bucs can cap off their regular season with a win. Everyone, make sure you're following along with Rick and Sports by Tampa Bay Times on Twitter throughout the game. And as always, be sure you're checking out tampabay.com for your full Bucs coverage.